kind of wild. I had expected, hey, with everything shutting down and closing down, and I didn't think people would want to get out there. People were still out looking at homes, and a lot of my investors, their properties are vacant, and so having a vacant property was like having gold in March and April and into May. Having a vacant property was like the one property you could get a lot of activity and a lot of showings. And so, um, but again, it's the media was kind of starting to build things up that, man, homes are not selling. And as an investor, we all get concerned if homes aren't selling. Well, why would I buy something or why would I rent something? And it really was just the inventory had dropped and homes ended up starting to sell again. So low inventory equals low sales volume. And so that's something that I think that was out there. Um, I think if you had a home on the market during, the months of mid-March to probably June 1st, and it was a home that you had up for sale, maybe not so much for rent, but I would say for sale. If you had a home that was on the market for sale, you probably saw extremely high activity. The number of people that were coming through our investors' properties that were all fixed up, cleaned up, maybe back on the market for sale, vacant, not tenant occupied or something. Those properties took very, very high activity. There was a lot of showings going on those properties, and we did get a lot of properties sold during that time. Again, it was a little surprising to me because, again, it's a little bit of an uncharted territory. I've been through a lot of events since this is my 25th year doing this. And I kind of compare this whole event, the COVID event, to a lot like September 11th of 2001. And why I think it was kind of like that, it kind of was like a hard stop in a way. Come March 15th or September 11th, it was kind of like, all right, everything is shut down. And so then we went for kind of a number of months. It was like 4 months, I would say, maybe 5 months, where things had slowed down a little bit. It was just a more of like, let's wait and see what happens. And that's kind of a little bit of what had happened. So I think that, but if you had a property that was on the market during March to June 1st, and it was on the market, you probably saw a lot of activity. The only difference is that I noticed was the properties that were over $350,000 in value. Those properties did slow down on the number of showings, the activity, and offers on those properties. And the reason being is that when you get a home that's over $350,000, it becomes a little bit of the domino effect. The consumer who is going to buy that $350,000, $400,000 house likely has a property that they have to sell before they're going to go out and buy another house, that more expensive property. So we did notice over 350, those started to slow down just because of that domino effect. But now we've started to see, really since the beginning of June, I would say really the very beginning part of June, we really started to notice that over 350,000, we're kind of back to a bit of a normal market right now. So on the higher end properties, and a majority of us as investors aren't buying real high end real estate. When I say high end to me is 350 to maybe $500,000. Over $500,000 to me would be out of the stratosphere. So of what most of myself and my investors are doing when they're buying properties. So the inventory, and with those houses where the people were living in there, the home where they would have a home to sell, those people took their homes off the market and didn't want anybody coming through. So they weren't willing to go in and buy another house to move into that house. So that was, again, that domino effect. So that's the 350,000 and plus homes.